Are you looking for the best meter-topping build around?
Too bad.
This is a video about making it rain utility on the raid as a DPS warrior. The point of this guide is for warriors that are just starting to get into GA and are not very geared. This build may change as your gear progresses. Also, it will be along the same guidelines as my other guides, wherein it is built around base amps and ability tier points. To do a quick rundown about runing and gear, the order of importance goes runing for assault power wherever you can, followed by brutality, then critical hit. If you want to rune for strike through, it doesn't hurt you. You can make sure that smackdowns land for sure, but that's really up to you. But now with that out of the way, let's kind of take a look at the LAS, at least what's going to be important for this build at its core. So first you're going to be wanting to tier 8 menacing strikes. The tier 8 here is important to help keep kinetic energy up. As you see here, every third use of relentless strikes applies kinetic boost for 3 seconds, which generates 10 kinetic energy every 0.25 seconds. Which is 40 kinetic energy every second, so 120 KE over the 3 seconds. Second is tier 8 Rampage, because it is the bread and butter of any damage you're going to be putting out. It's pretty self-explanatory, you don't really feel like you have to cover this one a whole lot. Third is Smackdown. This is going to be applying a 10% resistance reduction to the affected targets. To note, resistance reductions are multiplicative. In short, the more of them, the less effective they become. Fourth is base Savage Strikes and Breaching Strikes. I actually just have a point into Breaching Strikes just to increase his damage. But this is so that you don't have to spend the 2 amps on Tremor for Rampage resets, and you also have a KE regenerator, whereas Tremor doesn't help get any KE. I have these two listed together because you use Savage Strike immediately, followed by Breaching Strikes. This is to gain KE from Breaching Strikes, put out additional damage during Savage Strike's animation, and then you also get the reset from Savage Strike. Last note on the LAS is Tier 4 Power Link. This is going to be applying an 8% damage increase to everyone within its 25 meter radius. This is Tier 4 because it reduces the cooldown of your innate by 0.67 seconds every 1 second that Power Link is toggled on. This is helpful to put out more damage and give you lulls in having to worry about the resource management. The other 2 LAS slots are situational. Builds change depending on fights, either needing interrupts, movement, defense grid, what have you. We'll leave these 2 slots empty for the sake of this guide. Next we'll talk about amps. The ones to note are Armor Shred, Can't Stop Won't Stop, and Power Link. The rest are relatively self-explanatory. Armor Shred lowers the target's resistances by 6%. Since this is talking about the general build, I will not be going through each raid tier's resistances and talking about how they are reduced. I will note again, resistance reductions are multiplicative, so if the mob has 40% resistance, Smackdown will lower it to 36%. And then Armor Shred being applied would lower it to 33.84%. In short, you are increasing your raid's DPS by about 10.3%. Power Link is needed to increase your raid's DPS, kind of went through that one earlier, should be pretty self-explanatory at this point. Can't Stop Won't Stop is needed to help curb the kinetic energy decay that comes from having Power Link toggled on. This coupled with T8 Menacing Strike, Breaching Strike KE gain, and using your innate makes balancing KE a lot easier. Now that that's out of the way I prefer to play this build is to get my KE to 100%, then toggle Power Link, use Smackdown, use Rampage, use Savage Strike, immediately followed by Breaching Strikes. After that rotation, then I pop my innate, use Rampage, Savage Strike, Breaching Strike combo, reapply Smackdown, use Rampage again when it's off cooldown, then spam Relentless Strikes to get KE up. The rest of the rotation is just maintaining kinetic energy above 0% to make sure Power Link is on, and also keeping Smackdown applied. Because we don't have the Kinetic Fury amp in this build, you do not have to worry about keeping your kinetic energy above 500 or 750 kinetic energy. So for order of importance, it goes, use your innate whenever possible after you do the opening rotation, keep Power Link on, which requires not to fall below 0 KE, keeping Smackdown applied, rampaging, using Savage Strike, Breaching Strike combo, and Relentless Striking to gain kinetic energy. As a disclaimer, this is not the end-all be-all of support warrior DPS builds. This is the one I think warriors just getting into raiding will find easy to use while they adapt to the raiding environment of Wildstar. But with that said, thanks for watching. Hope it helped in some way. You can comment below or send me messages in-game, whatever you prefer. But yeah, take care.